Biggest change to the internet in over a generation. The European Parliament is currently debating and will vote on whether to modernise the laws that govern how we use the web. So what exactly does the bill do? Well, it would make online platforms and aggregator sites like Google, Facebook and Twitter responsible for copyright infringement and supposedly funnel more revenue from tech firms back to the artists and journalists that create that content. Well, those backing the new rules include industry bodies that look after content producers, the likes of Universal Music Group and Warner Music. But people are worried about something called Article 13, that's dubbed the meme ban. Now, no one's really sure whether memes will fall foul of the proposed laws, but they're discussing that today. Another controversial section is known as Article 11, that's the link tax. And it would mean that publishers and aggregate sites, including Google, will have to pay a tax on sites that they link to. So let's speak to Robert Ashcroft, who is Chief Executive of PRS, that's the Performing Rights Society. Robert, morning to you. What do you make of these plans? Because, as we said, being debated, will be voted on this morning, and they could change how we all use the internet.
Well, I don't think it's how we're going to use the internet that changes. People will still be able to upload their content. The good news is, of course, that they won't be personally liable for any copyright infringement. That liability passes to the platforms. And just to correct a point you made, memes or parody are actually accepted from this. So this is really good news for consumers, it's good news for creators, and it rebalances the economy to create a fair market for creative content on the internet.
But will it really, I mean, you suggest it won't change how we use it, but if you look at some of the things that would fall foul of this, it's tweets, it's status updates, it's links that we might post online, all of those will be checked by the likes of Google, and if they perhaps fall foul of copyright, they'll be removed. Firms aren't going to police it so closely that they'll allow it.
No, I think that you might be a little mistaken there. The whole point is that if they have copyright material that's uploaded, then they're obliged to use, and the large ones already have the technology to do so, to identify it and remove it upon request. But the real point about this is to ask them to take out a license for the content. And of course, that's what we do as PRS for Music. It's what the record labels do, it's what the publishers do. And what we're encouraging is to have a fair market in the pricing of that content.
What are you going to define as a fair use policy, though, in terms of whether it's someone who is posting a video or a music track, which is quite clearly subject to copyright, or someone who's using it in a fun way, in a meme or a GIF, for example?
They're absolutely allowed. If they want to upload that to a licensed platform, then that's absolutely fine. There's no problem. That's the whole point. It's to take the burden off the consumers, take the burden off the users, and place it on the platforms, who are the people who currently license in many cases. YouTube has a license, of course Spotify has a license. Facebook has recently taken one out, Twitter hasn't yet. And what we're trying to do is to move towards a level playing field where there is a fair market for creative content on the internet.
While we're talking, Robert, we've just heard from Brussels telling us that actually the EU has backed that proposal, those preliminary reforms, getting the backing of EU lawmakers. It's something you would quite clearly welcome, representing the music industry.
That is absolutely right. So we kicked off this debate in 2014. It's been a long, rational discussion, and this creates the real opportunity for us now to have a business partnership with these internet giants. I'm very, very pleased about it.
Robert, it's good to talk to you. Thanks so much, Robert Ashcroft there, the Chief Executive of the Performing Rights Society, representing, amongst other things, music producers.